All right, good evening, everybody. For the record, it is 5:15 p.m. I'm fudging by 2 minutes, but it's 5:15 p.m. On Thursday, September 27th, 2018. Time for the regular meeting of the Wenatchee City Council. I've called the meeting to order. The first item would be the pledge to our flag. Councilmember Esparza, would you lead us?
Sure.
As your, on the cough drop?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councilmember Esparza. Roll call this evening. We have 5 members of the City Council present. Councilmember Bailey and Councilmember Huffaker are out this evening. Consent items. The first item on our agenda tonight would be the consent items, which would be approval of the agenda, the vouchers, and the minutes from the previous meetings.
All right, I make a motion that we approve the consent items, including the agenda for this evening's meeting, the vouchers as presented to us, and minutes from previous meetings.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Kulas, second by Councilmember Markart to approve this evening's consent items, including the agenda, vouchers, and the minutes from the previous meeting. Discussion. Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Citizen comment. This would be a time when any member of the audience that would wish to address the City Council on something that's not on today's agenda. We would ask that you come up. We give you 3 minutes. Name and address for the record. See no takers. Usually there's a lineup. We will move on to presentations. We actually have 3 presentations tonight. Public Power Week, our Outstanding Wastewater Treatment Plant Award, and then the Masawa presentation. So Public Power Week is first, so Councilmember Kulas.
Whereas Chelan County Public Utility District has a legacy for 80-plus years of producing clean, carbon-free, low-cost, and reliable public power while enhancing the quality of life for county residents. And whereas Chelan County Public Utility District is a trusted steward of the county's bountiful natural resources, including the Columbia River, its tributaries, and the fish, wildlife, and habitat that nurtures us all. And whereas Chelan County Public Utility District, as a customer-owned utility with a governing board of locally elected individuals, ensure local control to provide not only safe and reliable electrical service to more than 1.8 million residents throughout the Northwest, as well as a world-class broadband network, water and wastewater services, and a magnificent park system for local residents. And whereas Chelan County Public Utility District is an energy efficiency leader offering expertise and financial incentives to encourage customers to use electricity and water wisely while maintaining comfort and saving them money. And whereas in 2016-2017, Chelan County Public Utility District and its customers exceeded the energy efficiency target by 137%, saving enough electricity to power 1,600 homes. And whereas Chelan County Public Utility District joins public power utilities across the country in providing affordable services that help customers maintain comfort in their home and be profitable in their businesses while conserving resources. Now, therefore, the Wenatchee City Council in the County of Chelan, the State of Washington, does hereby proclaim the week of October 6th through 13, 2018 as Public Power Week in Wenatchee, and urge residents to join them in celebrating the benefits of locally owned power. In witness whereof, I have caused the seal of the City of Wenatchee to be affixed this 27th day of September, 2018. Frank J. Kuntz, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Kulas. Kimberly, how are you?
Very well.
You won the toss and got to come to the meeting tonight, didn't you?
Thank you so
How are
much.
you?
I'm
You gotta
very
get your
well.
picture taken.
Oh.
You gotta get this on Facebook.
There we go. I love it. And you're wearing the red shirt? Beautiful. Go Dogs.
So here, you want to say something to the?
I would. I'd just like to thank the members of the council for your consideration and also to say what a great privilege it is to be able to serve the people of Chelan County, our customer owners with affordable electricity. I hope that you'll join us in celebrating this great benefit we have for living in this beautiful region. I invite you to come by for some donuts and cider on Friday afternoon. If you're down at the PUD office, they'll be in the lobby. And then Saturday, October 6th at Pybus. It's going to be a busy day at Pybus. But
Going on that day.
there is, and we will be there with a line truck and the opportunity for kids of all ages to do a Japanese fish print. If you haven't done Gyotaku at Salmon Festival, it's your chance to do that and really talk a little bit about hydropower, which in our view, is just really damn cool. So we'll look forward to seeing you all there. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Kimberly.
You bet.
That's for you.
Do I get to take that?
Yes, you do.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Oh, Tim says leave it there. What if it falls off?
Boom.
Sit here watching it.
What's that?
We'll sit here watching it.
Oh, is the microphone going to stay? All right, and our next presentation is to some of our staff, as we have gotten an award as the Outstanding Wastewater Treatment Plant Award. So who's doing all this stuff? Come on up, guys. Rob, what's the...
Maybe Adam, would you introduce our guest tonight?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, get a microphone. We're on
Oh,
home
hey.
TV. You can't. This is why Tim left it up here.
I would like to introduce Coleman Miller. He's our permit writer for the City of Wenatchee's wastewater permit.
Yeah, so I'm from the State Department of Ecology, and so just a little background. We, as a state, we're delegated from EPA to administer the discharge permits for the whole state. And so anytime any discharges to the rivers, which we love as Washingtonians, we love our rivers, we love our clean water and pristine conditions, and a lot of that has to do with these regulations that require clean water to be put into those rivers. So the city of Wenatchee has a permit, and during the year 2017 was perfect in the compliance of that permit. So that's what this Outstanding Performance Award is. It's going to hang in the treatment plant next to quite a few other plaques similar to this because they do a really good job. It's one of the treatment plants we don't have to worry so much about. They discharge about 3 million gallons every single day. You can't turn it off to work on a pump or anything. I mean, it's just continual flow coming in all the time, and they treat the water really well. They comply with their permit, which includes testing and reporting and studies and different things that are required throughout the year. And they keep on top of things every day, every week, all these submittals that are required by the state, which are also required by these federal regulations. So I'd like to mention the wastewater treatment staff and recognize them by name. We have here wastewater treatment plant supervisor Adam Reichert. The laboratory technician is Katie Landers. And these people all have a hand in everything that has to do with this performance award. It's a whole team effort. So we've got wastewater treatment plant maintenance technicians, Devlin Walt and Andrew Dorsey, treatment plant operators, Chad Noah, Josh Rader, and Travis Clark, and treatment plant collection staff are Barry Clements, Brent Corbally, Efrain Ramirez, and Candelario Amante. So I'd like to thank them for their service and present this plaque for them to hang in their treatment plant and acknowledge the good work that everybody's done.
Coleman, thank you.
Woo.
Oh, I thought you were.
another one.
Quick,
Thanks, Ava.
Adam, congratulations.
Hey, thank you, Frank.
Thanks for the chat. Coleman,
Thank
good
you.
to see again.
I feel like I should have brought my BYU shirt.
Tim, do we need to keep this?
Let's put some money on it.
Oh, we got the Masala folks. They're gonna probably
I'll hold it.
And our staff does a remarkable job at the wastewater treatment plant. I know we take it for granted every time we sort of flush, but those guys do a really remarkable job. All right, Linda, you and your granddaughter are going to do a little presentation for us. Tell us about Masawa.
Hi, Linda Harold. You want my address, 1913 Hideaway Place, and this is,
Hi, I'm Faye Patrick, 1913 Hideaway Place.
she's my granddaughter. She lives with me 1 day a week.
Okay.
Thank heavens. Anyway, in August, I was your city representative to travel with the. Oh, thank you.
Keep talking.
Just a minute, technical difficulties. To travel to Japan to represent you and as part of the Wenatchee Valley Misawa Sister City delegation. And Mayor Kuntz went last year, but this year I had the opportunity to go. And what an amazing trip. I'll just say one thing, life-changing. They are very kind, very wonderful people, and very focused, very driven, and our society could learn a lot from them. And we have some pictures to show you, but Tim's going to help me.
One moment.
It doesn't look good. Do you want to hook up my laptop?
No, that's just.
We need to get Adam Wright, get her up there.
We got a flash. Oh, there we go. Ooh,
It's on there.
there we go.
Got her.
Thank you, sir. Anyway, this is what you see here is our delegation, and it was led by David and Judy Keltz, and they are basically our tour guides. We spent the first 3 days in Tokyo, traveling around Tokyo, and what an amazing city. And I just have one thing to say. Their transportation system there is phenomenal, and I don't think if they had to build that now, they could afford to do it because they built it back, I guess, back in the 60s, so it's pretty amazing. We visited some various temples and shrines, and this is, my Japanese is not very good, Meiji Jingo Shrine, and this, what you see here is they are cleansing their hands to wash away the evil spirits before they go into the shrine, is my understanding. And this is the shrine itself. And then we went to the Imperial East Gardens. We didn't get to go to the Emperor's palace, of course, because nobody's allowed in there, but it was so beautiful and lots of pictures and things to do. The Emperor is not seen more than once a year. He's basically just a figurehead for the Japanese people, but he is very important to their culture. So then we went to the Sensoji Buddhist temple, and this is a statue that I was just fascinated with. It's a Shogun warrior, and amazing statues and shrines everywhere. And this is entering the temple, and this is a picture inside the temple. Now, we weren't allowed to go in there, and they had it screened off, so you can't go in and touch anything, but it was so beautiful, and I've never seen anything so ornate. It was just amazing. Traditional Japanese wear. There were quite a few people were dressed in traditional costumes. And this is Nakamichi Street in Tokyo. They took us there to go shopping, and this is a slow afternoon on the street. People are walking down it. As you can see, it's just you had to crawl your way through because you couldn't get through. It was pretty amazing. Wow. And then we went to a temple, Kamakura, excuse my Japanese. This was a temple that originally was in a building, but it was taken out twice by tsunamis, and so they didn't rebuild the building. They just left it outside. And as you can see, it's a very big temple, a very big statue. And then the next day we went digging gobo. Gobo is a plant that
Well, this is in Misawa now. You're in Misawa now.
yeah, this is in
Yeah.
Misawa now. I'm sorry. Anyway, the gobo is you eat the root and you cook the root, and it's actually very, very good. But the top part of the plant is poisonous, so you can't eat it.
Cross between a carrot and an onion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is when we went to the Miss Vidal site where the plane actually took off from, and this is a monument there at this site. Very beautiful area, and of course a replica of Miss Vidal is there. And then this is the beach where it actually flew from. It's quite a bit different now because the tsunami kind of washed it all out, and the ramp is gone and everything. And then the next day we went to the Massawa Airport. What a beautiful facility it is. This air base is shared with the American Air Force, the Navy, our Navy, and the Massawa
Air Force.
Defense Organization. And they are not allowed to have offensive weapons there in Japan. They're only allowed to have defensive. So if they need offensive weapons, we provide that for them. And I thought that was pretty interesting. And this was done because when we, at the end of the war, it was put in their constitution they would not have offensive weapons. And of course, this is the vice commander, and he was showing us the planes and explaining how they work and everything. It was very amazing. I'd never been that close. Then Saturday morning, we were in a parade, and that was quite fun. And we had a big truck that everybody rode on. Jerry Lee Crawford and I rode in a rickshaw, and I have to tell you, halfway through the parade, the tire went flat and we had to walk the rest of the way. But it was okay because then we were able to make connections with everybody. It was a lot of fun. This is a traditional Japanese instrument, and I'm sorry, I can't remember what you call it. This is Faye. She did pretty well with it. If I had about 6 months, I might be able to play a little tune, but I didn't do so well. And then this is the mayor's office, Mayor Tananichi, and Faye was taking over the city. This is at the International Trade Center there in Massawa, and this is part of the group there that was there. They taught us how to make sushi. I'm not a big sushi fan, but I tried it, and it was pretty good. I just have a thing about raw fish. Oh, okay, and then the two gals, the one fourth from the right and on the very end on the right, are going to be staying with us next weekend during Wings and Wheels because we're going to host them. So we're pretty excited about that. And then finally, this is our host family. Kindest, most wonderful people, and they made us feel so at home and so much part of their family, and we had such a great time with them, and those are memories that I'm going to cherish for the rest of my life. And we're hoping Misaka, the teenager, is coming for Apple Blossom next year. She has a test she has to pass, and we're hoping that she can stay with us for Apple Blossom. I just want to say, and then you can we'll answer any questions you have. It was such a great time, but what I realized is that this relationship with Wenatchee and East Wenatchee, the Wenatchee Valley, is so important to these people. They share it in their schools. It is something that they all study, they all know about. The kids are required to take 6 years of English in school, and it's just an amazing thing, and this is so important to them. And for us, I hope we will always continue to support this program and send delegates over there, simply because it just helps create better relations. And it's a small part of the picture, but in the end, those small parts add up to a big picture. So that's it. Any questions? And Faye's here to answer questions because I said if I'm paying for you to go, I want a return on my investment.
So just for the council knows, we do have, for the last couple of years, to set aside money to send one person to Massawa. And we pay, there's a money that goes to the Massawa Sister City delegation to pay for bus transportation and those sorts of things while you're there, and you're in a youth hostel for a few days, and some of the tours they did were sort of prepaid. And then we paid for Linda's airfare. And that's it. She has to cover all the other expenses. And of course, she paid for her granddaughter to go. So we'll do that again next year. I think Councilman Huffaker is thinking about going. So it seems like we've sort of got, and there was a time when we weren't doing it. We questioned the legality of doing it. But we've been doing this now for a little while, putting money aside so someone gets to go. I would encourage all of you to pick a time that works and go represent our valley over there. It's pretty remarkable.
Yeah, and Faye's hoping to go back next year too, so.
So Faye, what did you purchase there when you're in Tokyo or Osaka?
I got a lot of things for my little sister.
Uh-huh.
I got this a dress. It was it's got this really big, like they're high tops, but they're like an extra layer, so they made me really tall.
Was the dress like a traditional dress or?
No, it was just kind of a regular dress. I didn't really have anything nice to wear for the welcome ceremony, so.
So did you like the food?
She loved it.
What'd you think of breakfast, having fish and rice for breakfast? And soup?
I don't know. At first I thought it was kind of strange, but then I got kind of used to it.
Now she wants fish and rice.
Fish and rice and soup for every day, yeah.
What was your favorite part of the trip?
I think my favorite part was when we were in Tokyo. I got at the youth hostel. I got to stay with these 3 awesome people who I actually became great friends with, and just the touring was really cool. It was really pretty there.
How about the 12-hour air flight or whatever it is?
It was 9 hours.
8 hours. Long ways, isn't it?
It's fine going over, but coming back is brutal.
Yeah, yeah. It's literally planes, trains, and automobiles reversed
Yeah.
coming home.
And the bullet train to Misawa is amazing, 200 miles an hour. We
Yeah,
had
it's
so
pretty
much
fun, isn't it?
You don't see a lot because you're in a tunnel a lot of the time, but there are areas where you do see the scenery, so.
Yeah. Well, great. Glad you guys had a great time.
We did. Thank you.
You
Thank
bet.
you again for letting me do that.
You bet, Linda. All right. We have a couple of action items tonight is all. So the first is the model business license ordinance. So Brad, you're going to present that to us.
Sure. Good evening, Mayor, Council. In 2017, last year, the legislature passed a bill that requires us to adopt some model language for our business licenses if we want to continue to enforce and collect on our business license process that we have. So at the AWC conference this summer, they published that model language. And so we've got it in an ordinance here tonight that we have to adopt. We have to adopt it by January 1st. Otherwise, we have to stop enforcing our business licenses. So the language that's in here is pretty much all just required language that we have to adopt per the state. There is, since we're adjusting this section, we decided that we would clean up a very labor-intensive process for us with when we have events that have multiple vendors. Because when we have a multiple vendor event, each vendor, if they're from out of the city and don't already have a business license, they have to come and they have to apply for a business license in our office. And then when you've got an event with 30 or 50 vendors, it becomes quite the cumbersome process for us and for them. And the fees are relatively small for them. So this would make it so that the event coordinator would be the point person to get a multiple vendor business license that would cover everybody. And the fees would still be basically the same. It would just be that the organizer would coordinate it. And so currently, some of the organizers already do coordinate things, except that the applications have to come to us rather than just having the coordinator take care of everything. So
Is the multiple vendor thing just a Wenatchee thing, or is that a statewide, that when we're adopting it, we're adopting statewide similar stuff?
No, I think the specific rules to multiple vendors, I believe, is a city thing.
Okay.
Many cities have this type of multiple vendor
Got it.
license, so we definitely aren't the only city that has this format. It's just this wasn't required per the state language.
But we're having one coming up for the state one, right?
I think when we're going to end up moving to the state business license system, and so instead of people coming into the city hall, they will go to the state system to get their business licenses from us. And so we're going to be rolling that out, I think, January 1st of 2020. So this is one of the steps in kind of a two-step process to get us there. This one is required that we do it now, where moving to the state system is, we've got a couple years to do that.
And there's no additional fee
On
this one.
On this one, there is no additional fee.
But when we adopt the state system, they're going to take
$35.
something out of the top.
Yeah,
So we have to raise
there's
our
a
rates to keep
there's a fee
ourselves-
for registering on the state system, I believe.
So, Brad, for these vendors, does it require that each of the vendors that they're under one business license, do they each have to have a UBI number?
That's a state issue. Right?
Yeah.
That's not a local.
Okay.
That's not a local jurisdiction.
Because some of the
issue.
trade shows we get, they don't have business licenses.
And I don't believe that is something that I'm looking at Lisa. I'm not sure that's something that we're gonna be concerned about.
Yeah, that's a Department of Revenue issue, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, because we'll just be getting probably the list of the business names and the count from the event organizer, and then they will give us a check for the total amount, and then they will go to the vendors and collect. They'll be collecting other fees from them. They'll just collect their business license fee on top of that.
Makes sense.
Well, I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance number 2018-29, amending chapter 5.76 of the Wenatchee City Code relating to business licenses.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Poyer, second by Councilmember Esparza, to adopt ordinance 2018-29, amending chapter 5.76 of the Wenatchee City Code relating to business licenses. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, Brad.
Thank you.
Stephen Nunschwander, Washington State Department of Historic Preservation Grant Agreement.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. I thought I was going to be the first one to make a BYU comment tonight. I would have worn my shirt had I known you would wear yours
This
this
is my
evening.
Wenatchee Panther shirt. It
Okay.
might look like a the logo doesn't have a trademark on it, so.
I think it's good to backpedal now in advance of the game. To business. So this evening, the item before you is a grant through the Washington State Department of Historic Preservation. So the Historic Board has been in communication with some property owners on the 900 block of Highland Drive, which I'm sure many of you know is a very nice block, a very community-oriented block, has some nice historic homes on it, and they've expressed some interest in preserving their block for the future. And so the Historic Board talked to us about applying for a grant through this Certified Local Government program at the state, and we were awarded a $15,000 grant to hire a consultant to do a study of the block, to look at the historic value of the structures, and then if they meet the criteria, then to prepare a nomination form for that to form its own historic district. And so the proposal before you this evening is to authorize the mayor to sign the contract with the Department of Historic Preservation so that we can begin the process of hiring the consultant and begin the work. In the contract is a timeline, so this needs to be completed by September of next year.
When you mention interest in the people at the 900 block, how many homes does it involve, and what's the scope of that? I mean, is this
So the scope of the grant is for the 24 homes on the block.
24 homes?
Yeah. So as part of the grant, we're required to do 2 public meetings. So we would first engage the property owners early in January once a consultant's been selected. And then later in the process, we would have a second public meeting where the findings of the consultants would be presented.
And the interest, the parties that came to you were 10, 12, 15?
That I
One?
don't know the exact number that.
Interesting. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Happy to answer any other questions.
And I will tell you, the historic district, that's the Grandview one, has been very successful. I know we had a little bit of trouble getting out of the gate, but it seems like it's been working really, really well the last 3 or 4 years.
It is working well, and one of the benefits of a listing such as this is, as properties are improved, if they meet the threshold of the 25% of the value for the rehabilitation, then they could apply for the special valuation tax benefit. So there are benefits to the property owners in the district as well.
That's a 10-year tax. So
Correct.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
I like that block.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Yeah.
All right, any other questions for Stephen? If not, I would entertain a motion.
Your Honor, I will make a motion for the city council to authorize the mayor to sign the grant agreement with the Washington State Department of Historic Preservation for the reconnaissance level survey of the 900 block of Highland Drive.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Esparza, second by Councilmember Markart to authorize the mayor to sign the grant agreement with the Washington State Department of Historical Preservation for a reconnaissance level survey of the 900 block of Highland Drive. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, Stephen.
Thank you.
Mayor's report. I guess I have maybe 2 or 3 things. Some of you got to sit through a meeting today, our Finance Committee meeting, where we took on 92 separate asks for our budget. We had a sort of a preliminary budget that we saw today, and then we went through the 92 items. By our policies or ordinance, we actually have to have a preliminary budget to the council by October the 1st. So we will have a budget to you on Monday. It is not obviously the final version of it. It's sort of the first one after today. The Finance Committee will revisit it again a couple more times, and then we'll start our public hearings sometime in November. I think on the revenue side, things are looking pretty good. We got a lot of asks for employees, police department, diversity, public works, planning. So there was a number of asks we sort of went through today. Obviously, we'll get to a balanced budget. The Finance Committee's got a little bit more work. I gave Brad some direction today, so we'll see how we came out after today's sort of work. But you'll have something on Monday. Clearly not the final version. The Finance Committee will see it again. It'll have the list of asks that made it and the ones that didn't. And then I think we got some more refining to do. So I think we're sort of plugging away. We should have this budget adopted mid-November is sort of the time frame that we normally look at. Second, I think with related to financial matters, you will be seeing an ordinance with respect to property taxes for next year. It will be drafted with a 1% increase plus new construction plus something to start on the federal building with, and there'll be a number associated with that. So that'll take care of the 2019 number, and then 2020 through roughly 2040, that sort of property tax for the federal building, that ordinance is being drafted. You'll probably see that later in October, probably not for a while. That sort of stuff is getting drafted as we speak. So those are sort of the math ones with respect to next year's budget that I think are important. I think everything else is sort of kind of settling in. For those of you that had the chance to do either of the 2 pop-up events, I will tell you yesterday when they had a 5-way stop, and I'll get the street name wrong, King, Buchanan, Washington, whatever that was, I thought that was remarkable. I don't think Douglas doesn't come down there.
Yeah.
It's King,
King doubled, Buchanan 1 and 2 Washingtons.
Washington.
Yeah. So with the bulb outs and the 5-way stop, it actually worked really well.
There were a couple of people that were actually respecting the stop sign going eastbound on Washington.
Yep.
I was one, but
Yeah.
the 2 in front of me.
Didn't, yeah. So I really thought the longer we went through the day, the better the people sort of reacted. I thought people drove quite a bit slower in front of the county courthouse because they had stopped, right? And they knew the next stop sign was coming. So I really thought that went really, really well. Today, they had a 4-way stop, but they had all of Washington Street blocked off in front of the courthouse, which included the Rondo turn. And that was more interesting. For those of you that went and saw it, there's a taco truck up there and there were some vendors. And what I thought was most interesting about the whole process is the county really asked us to do that. And their county employees chewed on our staff people. Because they said it was a city project, and why does the city want to do this? And we said, well, we're looking at it on behalf of the county. They're really interested in making this sort of a campus feel. So probably some communication issues that may not have happened between the county commissioners and their staff. But anyhow, Brooklyn has done a remarkable job over the last 2 or 3 days. And I know Anna was down there and some of our other staff. So we will have plenty of feedback. Feedback won't be an issue. You were either sort of really this is great or really this is awful. There wasn't too many, well, I don't know what to do with that. So that will be an interesting sort of process. Allison, anything else on our end?
I was just going to mention in that we, at the pop of it, we laid out from Met Howe Park to the courthouse and library to kind of give the whole context of the area, and the feedback was really rich. I don't
Rich
think,
is a nice way to say it.
yes, I don't think we expected quite the feedback on the Arrondo Washington intersection. That intersection by the county employees is deemed really unsafe because people are heading uphill and not pausing at that corner. So people were really thrilled with the opportunity for us to look at it. So
Good.
yeah.
And a pretty inexpensive way to try something out if you think about it, right? Because you can sit around and design something and have it not work the way you think, or you can just go put it in place and see how it works. So be interested to see what we do next. Council members, what's going on your stuff?
Wings and Wheels is next weekend.
Okay. And we have the Masawa welcome on Wednesday. Okay.
At 3 o'clock. It would be really nice if all of our council members could be there. You know, the one observation I have to make is they really make a big deal out of us arriving in Masawa.
Yes.
And I kind of feel like we need to step up our game. So if you folks could all be there to support this, I'd appreciate it.
Agree. A couple of things. I know Councilmember Harold attended Festus Mexicanas to introduce
District one.
participants to her. I did something less noticeable. I attended St. Joseph School's Harvest Festival last Saturday, which was a delightful event.
Yeah.
I really liked the cow train. That was really kind of cool, hauling the younger participants around. Kind of related to that, I want to finish walking and driving District 5 before too long. So I was kind of wondering if we could get, I mean, the GIS on here is fine, but when I shouldn't be using this when I'm driving. It would be nice if we had maps, 11 by 17 maps, say, of our district, if we could have those printed and just
so in
shoved in our
fact, Tim
boxes.
Bailey asked us about it the other day, and I asked staff to go ahead and give each of you blow-up version colored of your district, so you can have it with you
I'm
and
just
carry it. And
trying to compile a list, for example, of the businesses and the nonprofits and the education facilities in my district to make contact with them, because oftentimes they don't live in your district, and so I thought I'd just reach out and.
So I know
that would
Allison's
help.
working on. I don't know if we, but we'll get maps for all of
We
you.
will get maps for you. Thank you.
Appreciate that.
And for those of you that didn't go to Festival Mexicanas, I was there with Linda Saturday night at 6 o'clock to about 8 o'clock. And what do you think, 5,000 people?
Oh, I
Easy?
think more. Definitely more. It was amazing.
Yeah. So they brought in an artist who was I'll get the Justin Bieber of Latin music. And what?
No.
How would you describe him?
I don't even know who he is, but I wouldn't go that far.
Well, there you have it.
He was
It was
better
pretty
than
good. It
Justin
was pretty good.
Oh, I'll tell you, Myra couldn't hardly stand it. She was so excited.
Yeah.
Myra, the intern. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I can't remember his name, but they
He
spent about 20,000,
and
30,000.
all
on
the
this
girls
guy.
were screaming. It was.
Oh my gosh, you
Yeah,
should have seen
it was quite a do.
He's well known.
So anyhow, if you think about it, a free concert to that group, paid for by donations and put together by the group that does that, is pretty remarkable. I thought it was a great night and fun
And
to
it's
see.
a free event.
Yes, that's the key part. It's a free event.
At the new,
Yeah, so it was pretty cool.
is there a band show?
All right, so next week, what are we doing?
We have
Nothing?
the Red
Nothing.
Apple Road ribbon cutting.
Yes.
We have the APWA conference in town. We're a host community for that. So that's the mayor's going to greet them and announce that we need project engineers. We hope they brought their
Start
best and
stealing
brightest.
people.
And Coffee with a Cop is
Coffee with a
Wednesday
Cop.
at Pybus,
Mhm.
9:30.
Yes.
Wednesday? This
Wednesday.
coming Wednesday?
This coming
The third?
Wednesday at 9:30, yep.
Everything's going on the 3rd.
Yep. Yep, and no city council on Thursday, yep. And then we'll meet on the 11th. I will not be here on the 18th, so council member Mayor Pro Tem Esparza will run the meeting on the 18th. I will be traveling that day. And then we do have those meetings. Remember, our schedules change, so we're going the 1st, the 8th, and the 15th of November. All right, anything else? Thanks, Finance
We-
Committee, for sitting through 2.5 hours of
Wow.
whatever that was. Sorry, that was a long one, but
It's okay. It needs to be done.
yeah.
So we
No.
do have keys to the federal building if anybody wants to go up and look
Yeah,
at
so
the
we've been
demolished.
knocking out the third floor walls, not a lot, but if anybody wants to run over and look at the third floor and the second floor area where our council chambers will be, or anything on the third floor, Steve's got keys, and he'd be more than happy to take anybody over that wants to look at it. With that, we're adjourned.